Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Game and Wrestling Connection. Its 2-year mission to explore the strange new world, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no Eva Marie has gone before.
To a personality?
I don't know, like, the theme to Star Trek. I was about to do the theme to Twilight Zone.
Oh, yeah.
So I was really hoping you interrupted me somewhere. Isn't that X-Files? That's either X-Files or Enya.
No, that is the original Star Trek theme.
I thought that was Enya. But hello, everybody. Welcome.
Next Generation, which was...
Welcome to Math Music by Duke.
Volume
1.
I'm not a Trekkie. I just like music, and so if I hear something, it just kind of gets stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the Duke. He's Larry. This is the Game and Wrestling Connection, where we don't talk about games much, but we talk about wrestling a whole lot. And we're going to be hitting up that NXT Takeover Toronto. Let's talk about it, Larry.
Yeah, let's get into this. Let's jam, because we also are going to talk about Survivor Series in the next part of this episode, which is also available on this channel. Let's go right into a title match here. The tag team title match, Revival against DIY. Duke, I have a feeling that this match fits the mold of NXT Championship match rivalry, where the loser is getting promoted.
Yeah, it feels that way, and it's about time for Revival to move up. What else are they going to do? I mean, really, the only thing the Revival has left to do in NXT is lose to Authors of Pain, which doesn't really make sense. So, because they are perennial heels and perennial, cocky heels, so it just doesn't make sense for them to get destroyed by the monster team. And AOP has their run coming for sure.
We call them AOP now?
Well, I do, just because I always see it abbreviated that way. Authors of Pain, I see them having a pretty strong run at some point, a la Ascension, sort of the monster heel tag team or whatever. But yeah, it's I just don't see Revival sticking around for that. I don't think that makes sense for them as characters. I don't think it makes sense for them as champs. So, yeah, I can see DIY taking this and being the probably temporary babyface champs to turn it over to someone else and them to possibly move up pretty quickly as well.
I don't necessarily see them moving up quickly, but let's hit the Revival side, and we're both agreeing that DIY is pretty much 100% winning this match and the titles. I would think. That's your feeling too, right?
Yeah, it seems that way.
Okay. So on the Revival side, the one thing that SmackDown lacks is tag teams, and that's laughable because they got like 9 of them.
Right.
But they have like the Usos, Slater and Rhino, and I'm not even really too comfortable putting them in that mold, but they have the Usos and American Alpha, and then add the Revival to that mix. Well, something I'm going to talk about later when we tape the SmackDown episode will fit this, but I think with the Revival going over, if whoever is going to feud with the Slater and Rhino, whether it's, let's say it's the Usos again, well, then Revival, American Alpha can work. Like, they could have like 2 tag team feuds going on at the same time, which is slightly unheard of in wrestling, or sustaining a storyline with a B tag team storyline. I can see that happening. I could also see Gargano and Ciampa winning the tag titles, and their loss of the tag title, whenever that is going to push Ciampa heel, and it's going to be Gargano versus Ciampa for a little while as well. I pegged them before, and with not so much certainty now, based on all the new signings NXT has done, or WWE has done for NXT, as 2 guys that are going to be fighting for the title in a year, like after the Nakamura era or whatever, a tag team championship like almost like fitting the Owens Sami Zayn role of best friends, winning tag team titles, buddies. Guy was at his wedding, and now bitter rivals fighting for the gold. I kind of feel like that's comfortable. The only thing that's throwing the wedge in there is that, well, we have Nakamura, we have Rude, we have Eric Young, we have Austin Aries, we have Roderick Strong, and we keep bringing in established talent outside. And not that Gargano and Ciampa aren't the established talent outside, but we're bringing in heavy hitters from other promotions who held their world title. And Gargano and Ciampa were never there. Ciampa was TV title, the ROH TV champion at one time. But other than that, these two haven't had that main stage on TV, on real pay-per-view kind of push. I don't know. Where do you see their release? Do you think they're tag team to the end, and then they're just going to get called up?
I don't know. I could see. I could just see it going either way. Like what you say makes a lot of sense. So I can't necessarily disagree with it, but it's like you say. It's with everyone else to consider. It's just as easy to consider. It's just as easy to think, well, they'll just stay a tag team until they leave NXT, and then maybe they'll do a feud later. So yeah, it's really hard to call that side of it. It's a lot easier to say Revival loses and goes to the main roster, which they should. It's time.
And again, SmackDown has like 9 tag teams, but SmackDown needs them.
They need an established, like, serious tag team,
credible
like,
one.
Yeah,
because they destroyed the credibility of at least 4 tag teams on that roster.
Sure.
With no like bringing that back up. I mean, what they did with the Ascension is stupid. They made them do this where the Ascension, we're back, and then they lose right after that promo. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that didn't make a lot of sense.
Thank you for that. But all right, so Gargano, Ciampa, Revival to SmackDown pretty soon, if not Tuesday after Survivor Series. Which would be fun, by the way.
Yeah.
If that happens.
That could be fun.
Hey, bonus game for you.
Bonus game.
Who, and this is a speculated match to be happening at NXT TakeOver Toronto, but it might be happening for the TV tapings of NXT TakeOver Toronto and not exactly on the pay-per-view show. If it does happen on the pay-per-view show, it would be the 6th match. Do they normally do 5 or 6? I think they normally do 5, right?
They've done both.
Okay, so
they've added one before, so
this would be fitting because this would be the 6th match, and it's a 6-woman tag team match. Speculated on, not announced, for either the TV tapings or the show. Liv Morgan, Aaliyah, Ember Moon versus Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, and somebody being teased as a mystery. Duke, speculation. Who do we got?
I don't know. Nikki Cross, maybe?
I have a few.
Nikki Cross will be interesting, where she just... I mean, the idea is that they run NXT, right? So why not have someone that's a part of Sanity just sort of ruin the babyface's day, but then she starts destroying Billie Kay and Peyton Royce as well. So I don't know. That's one person that pops to my...
I agree with that one. It puts her over as a psycho.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of upset Sanity is not on the card, because I'm really into them.
That's kind of the other thing, is like they have no presence.
Yeah.
Unless you do that.
Plus, Eric Young could get drop kicked by Ember Moon. Like, that could be a nice little comedy spot for that to happen. And then, like, just Nikki Cross goes nuts.
And then Nikki cleans house. Yeah.
I can only picture Nikki Cross like chewing on their arms. I don't know why, but
yeah, or like chewing on their hair, just doing something really weird. Which she's obviously willing to do just whatever. But yeah, that's my first guess, and I had a couple others, and they have left me at the moment. So
see, the problem with the mystery person is it's always got to be somebody established, or at least a debut that's memorable. like the Undertaker or like just some sort of big the Shockmaster. It's got to be memorable in the industry. How about a return home though? And I got two of them for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Emelina.
Okay.
Return home to NXT. Something like, all right, well, before you see her back on Raw, she's back here.
A little test.
Little test, but as a person who used to run the division, giving her blessing to her fellow Australians. Let's not forget that.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point.
Right. The second one is Over at Everything. I know she's taping a movie.
Yeah.
But if Eva Marie shows up with the bad guys, quote unquote, how much more heat would they get?
Super heat.
Right. So it works in both directions. She
is the heat magnet.
Yeah. They befriend Eva Marie, and now anybody who ever would have cheered Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, and there's not much in them. They get heat. They do well. Now do that. Any other possibilities I have are only like a return situation from the main roster, and they're all pretty much involved in Survivor Series anyway. So,
yeah, and the other thing that to consider, Eva Marie's probably the perfect choice for actually having heat on them, because Nikki Cross coming out is not going to generate heat at all.
No, because I think people buy into characters like Sanity.
Yeah, that's
like
actually,
they think it's cool. So.
Yeah, they're the cool sort of unpredictable. They're not really baby faces. I mean, they're not baby faces, but they're not really heels.
You're not supposed to like them, but you're cheering because they're weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Daria.
Oh, that's one of the ones I was trying.
How about the person you talked about last week in being that memorable debut spot, the UFC 4 horsewomen person? I don't know her name. I don't know her name. The MMA, the Ronda Rousey.
Shayna Baszler?
Yeah.
Now, that would be interesting. Well, there's another one. There's someone that I can't believe neither one of us thought of. There's the blonde Eva Marie. Why not Mandy Rose? That's perfect.
Oh, now that you said that, I feel like that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, and I remember why I thought of her, because I saw someone mention her and a couple other people. And I'm like, well, actually, Mandy Rose does make the most sense.
Yeah.
Because for every time that Peyton Royce and Billie Kay have been on screen recently, Corey has constantly talked about their physical appearance. Like, that's what he's talked about, how beautiful and how enchanting they are. And I'm just like, well, you got to have a shut up Tom moment for NXT Takeover, right?
There it is.
And it doesn't get any more shut up Tom than that right there.
Well, okay, if it's not in that match, it's in this next match we're talking about. I don't even know who we're gonna pick to win or lose. It's probably gonna be like Ember Moon, just to solidify her as the next contender to Asuka, I guess. So Ember Moon over Billie Kay in the match. Whoever, regardless of who the sixth person is. But now you say Mandy Rose, I feel like it's just like inevitable now to be her. So whatever. But we want to talk about a shut up.
And we haven't seen her in a while, so it's good timing.
Want to talk about a shut up Tom moment?
Yeah.
Ty Dillinger versus Bobby Roode.
Glorious.
You get that shut up Tom moment during Bobby Roode's introduction.
Is that shut up Tom or is that hallelujah Tom? What is it he does?
Oh, I don't know.
He says something. It's something about hallelujah. It's glorious or something like that. But yeah, Roode versus Dillinger. This has been a great build, and man, that I can't wait. Like, you get tired of vignettes on the main roster, but I think everything goes by so fast with NXT.
Yeah, they're off storylines so quick that they can't really make anything nauseating.
Yeah, and so it's fun to see it on the go home show and then to see it on the real show too, for the build up right before the match. And I'm excited about seeing that vignette again. Especially, I love Ty telling his story. I didn't realize that he had actually left WWE.
I didn't even realize he was in ECW.
I know,
well, the WWE
yeah.
ECW.
Yeah, WWE
with a promo and a gimmick.
Yeah, like he was like actually a guy. that got released from the company. I didn't really, I knew he was Stan. I knew he took the super kick from Shawn Michaels backstage as Stan, but I didn't know that he was actually, I didn't know his story. So that was awesome. And I look forward to that vignette again. I really look forward to this match. All the talk seeing from house shows and stuff. This match, as far as a match we're going to see at Takeover, this match has been the match to see over and over and over again. There's another match that's been happening a lot, but I don't want to say it right now because maybe they'll surprise us with it. But there's another match that's kind of just been tearing the house down, but vying for first place and occasionally being second place behind that match has been Rude and Dillinger. And Dillinger has been massively over at all times. So it's that's good to hear, because it's not just the Full Sail crowd making it happen. It's everywhere they go.
No, and if it's any indication of the LA and the California crowd, which is miles, miles, and miles away from Full Sail, when they showed the Dusty Tag Team Classic tournament matches from those buildings, NXT is electric in house shows as well. So, hey, this match, not even this match, Ty Dillinger makes me sad that there is no mid-card title in NXT. And I know there's not time for it and stuff like that, but man, if this had title implications on it for some reason, and it make me root for Ty Dillinger and hope that he would get a win, other than just saying, yeah, probably Rude's probably going to win, but Ty will probably still, get the crowd support. And actually both of them are going to get, I bet we get a both these guys chant, that stupid chant.
Sure. Yeah.
I bet we get one of those, if not like a really loud "Let's go Bobby," or perfect 10, glorious perfect 10, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever syllable Sabbath massacre the crowd's going to do it that night.
But it's all just one chant over and over again. So
yeah,
people would figure out. That's one thing I love about the shows in Europe is you hear varied chants. It's not everything is.
They used to do that, doing that in soccer games and stuff. There's like everything's a parody of a song.
Yeah,
and it's
which
just
is
like
great.
They insert the soccer player's name into it, and like "You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine." It was like what's his name, Solskjaer from Manchester United. "You Are My Solskjaer, My Only Solskjaer," whatever that was. But Glory Man United is another one. But yeah, listen, hey, this is probably going to be match of the night, and it just makes me wish there's something for Dillinger to do after this match. And because he's earned it. He's come a long way in 6-8 months time since he's been the perfect 10 or whatever it was, whenever that debut happened, to being on screen and just somebody I wanted to see, other than, hey, there's Ty Dillinger already in the ring. I guess he's not going to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. All right. Bobby Roode wins?
Yeah, I suspect that's going to happen. Yep.
We'll talk more about Bobby Roode in a minute, I believe. Let's talk about Asuka versus Mickie James. I can never buy into the whole, like, this person comes back scenario and expect them to ever win. I think it only really worked with Brock Lesnar over the years. Somebody gone from the company for months and months and months, winning on the grand stage, a title on the grand stage kind of thing. I guess there's an argument for like Triple H, but he's always there every year in at least one match. Can you sell me on Mickie James possibly winning?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't fit the NXT mold.
It doesn't. And for Asuka to just, yes, Mickie is a returning person who is a former champ and stuff like that, but Mickie wasn't like, Mickie was a champ by manipulation. Mickie wasn't like heroic. And so you're not expecting Mickie James to come in and be the hero that overcomes this little monster that's developed in the women's division of NXT. So yeah, I don't know how I could sell you on that.
Really, the question,
if they did it would be extremely surprising. But,
absolutely, yeah. But this is more to make One, because nobody's on Asuka's level. We've talked about this since Asuka's
Yeah.
won the title.
Yeah, Ember Moon is obviously the up and comer for that, and they have a lot of chemistry together. But she hasn't had the screen time yet.
The only thing this is going to do is establish Asuka as a legend killer.
Yeah,
Former WWE champion, Divas champion, whatever it was at the time. I don't care. I can beat you. And I don't know if they're going to feed Asuka a series of people, but it's just in between their takeover shows are a couple months, so I can't see like next takeover is going to be Asuka versus Victoria. You know what I mean? Where she's going to down another former champion past her
which is
prime.
weird. Which is weird because Lisa Marie Varone, she was talking about being on SmackDown at some point, and then just it never happened.
The first SmackDown Live, or maybe even the second SmackDown Live.
Yeah,
it was like make sure
second.
you tune in this Tuesday, Winky Face, or whatever her message was.
Which was weird. It was really strange to see that, and nothing ever came of it. So you mentioned Victoria. I mean,
Well, that's why
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe she would be the next one to step into that role, but I don't know. I have a feeling Ember Moon's arc is now really developing, with her being the hero for the scrappy little underdog baby faces. So.
Yeah, she gets that win in that 6-woman tag team match whenever that airs, if it ever happens, and then she's the one. But I mean, there's really no way.
I can't sell you on Mickey winning though.
No, I can't either, especially when WWE NXT is WWE's developmental company. So why would it, on the business level, the smart fan level, how would Mickey James holding this title like really fit into that mold? Except for the fact that they are treating it more like a wrestling company with every passing month, with more house shows, overseas shows, and stuff like that. It might be surpassing the developmental moniker right now, but it still is developmental in terms of backstage stuff and graduating people from the performance center to the shows, and then like from those house shows they get graduated to TV if they're good enough and ready. Mickey James is the outsider. If she wins, what happens? Just an Asuka rematch and Asuka fighting her. Like, who's really going to fight her? Peyton Royce. So, yeah, Asuka wins, I believe, and I believe it's going to be in some sort of legend killer. Is that all you got? Situation. Let's not forget that they are taping at Toronto. Then I think they're going to Full Sail, and then I think they're taping in Japan for TV. So they're going to have some staggered tapings here and there. They might pull off something in Japan where Asuka fights somebody in Japan that still goes along the lines of Legend Killer before she gets to Ember Moon. And it could be somebody with, Japanese heritage to the smart fans and not necessarily the WWE fan altogether. And I'm not really sure who that could be. Megumi Kudo or Minami Toyota, or I don't have any references to Japanese women's wrestling past 1990, it seems, but there could be like a stopgap there where they show it on TV and be like, hey, this woman has won all these titles for all these years, and then Asuka goes over on her, and it's like, wow, if these people can't stop Asuka, who can? And then
well, if they really wanted to break some molds and break down some barriers, I don't know if I feel like they could do this with NXT.
Asuka versus Ibushi.
I was gonna say Asuka versus Jushin Liger.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
WWE is never going to do
that before. They've wrestled before, so
have they really? Okay.
Yeah,
I have to watch that because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so that could be, and I feel like if they could do it anywhere in WWE, they could do it on NXT because it's not a sponsored show. It's sponsored by music. It's not sponsored by products. So.
No, but still, I think if they did, like, and I'm not saying that this is not the angle, but let's go a little bit more extreme. If they did any sort of shady storyline in NXT, well, WWE owns NXT, and it still is going to affect their
Fair enough.
You know, like it, yeah, like sponsors pulling out or whatever. If they did anything that was like, you know, on the Katie Vick level or whatever, what
Well,
have you.
yeah, but
You know.
but I don't know. Maybe they could get away with it for that, for a one-time only. You know, how good is Asuka? Let's put her in the ring against, you know, one of the best. I think that would be that would be an interesting thing to do.
I don't know
And,
how
and
that
to
would.
do it in Japan.
Yeah,
Holy
I'm
crap!
not sure how that really plays into the women's movement. If it's like even men can't beat Asuka, but then Ember Moon beats Asuka. It's like, what does that make Ember Moon? Like that doesn't like seem like
Yeah,
it like comparison wise like makes Ember Moon be like a you know, respects Ember Moon. It just kind of puts a title or like some sort of awkward label on her.
yeah,
But
yeah. I don't know. It was just a thought that I had that,
just line them up.
you
I
know,
think just line them
if
up
there's
and
anywhere that could happen, it could happen in Japan in NXT. I could see that happening.
yeah. And I'm not too sure
Yeah.
if Asuka is the Legend Killer and Ember Moon beats Asuka. It doesn't. Ember Moon doesn't have to beat Asuka. It's just she's going to be the next one in line from the class of people in the WWE umbrella.
Yeah, I still think you save that for the main roster anyway. If they're as good as what I hear and some of the things I've seen, why not save that for the main roster and just have Asuka turn over the title when they call her up? Just, you know, abandon it and they have a tournament and you can tell the story of Ember Moon getting it that way.
Could be. Listen, there is a women's tournament on the horizon, but I don't think that's going to use any of the. I think that's going to fit the more of the cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight,
Yeah, mold, and they're just going to bring in people from all over the world, and then
Yeah.
like NXT, maybe like one NXT person. But it'd be a great way to mix the two, and like the winner gets the vacated NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah,
And a contract if they don't already have, you know, something
Yeah.
like that. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that when details arise
Yeah,
from
when
that.
we have
But
more.
speaking of tournaments,
Yeah.
the Duke
Yes.
TM61 versus AOP in the
What I call them.
Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. By the way, we failed to mention that the Revival versus DIY was 2 out of 3 falls.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that probably is not going to go on first.
I still think it can go on first. I mean, it's like
I mean, it could, but I don't think
like,
it will.
Yeah, I mean, I think it still could, only because you know, Rude has the great crowd. Well, I mean, Rude versus Ty Dillinger will probably be first then, because that's going to be high energy.
Yeah, it's going to be
from the
huge.
get-go. So, you know, Rude,
Well, I mean, just imagine the thing starting with 10.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
and then Glorious right after that. I mean,
Yeah,
that crowd's
I
going to be
mean,
so overly
that's gonna be
hyped.
spent.
Yeah, they're going to burn themselves out in the first match chanting.
On the entrances.
Yeah. All right. TM61 versus Authors of Pain. And what made me think of the 2 out of 3 falls is the stipulation that Paul Ellering gets hung in the cage of doom over the what do they call that kind of cage?
They call it a shark cage.
Shark cage over the ring so he can't interfere.
Yeah.
I would
It's
say
happening.
if Joe Laurinaitis, the Animal, didn't have ill will against the WWE, that we might even had a case for the Animal to return and offer his help on behalf of Authors of Pain while Ellering was above the ring. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. So we're probably going to get a clean match. Who's going to take home this final?
I don't know because TM61 has had this weird, like, they've had this weird arc where they've sort of been
TM 50-50.
No, that's not what I was saying. They've had this weird arc where they've sort of been overcoming impossible odds a lot of times. I mean, you've got they're a tag team, and then they have to do a singles match. They have to pick one to do a singles match, and then they get destroyed in another match, and it's essentially a handicap match for most of the match, and then they win that one, and now they're going up against Authors of Pain. And yeah, there's the gimmick of Ellering, and he'll probably throw something from the cage at some point, I would suspect. But like something will happen where they I suspect there will be shenanigans even with him in the cage, because why have the cage otherwise? I mean, it's just kind of goofy otherwise. So I don't know. It seems like the story arc is that TM61 just somehow keeps finding a way to win matches that they're not prepared for, and that they shouldn't necessarily win. But then you've got the monsters of the tag team division, which I believe they will have a good run in NXT as they expand their repertoire and just become better in-ring performers in general. Although I've been very impressed with them. I don't know. It's hard to call this. I'm going to call TM61 at the risk of sounding like a just total story mark.
I think that when it comes to the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic and the trophy and winning it and the stuff, the fanfare they're going to do after the match, posing with the trophy with Dustin, possibly even Cody, I think that you can't do that with a heel team, especially a heel team like the Authors of Pain. So, based on that alone, booking wise, I think it makes sense that TM61 wins. This will never happen, but how crazy would it be if Authors of Pain won and destroyed the trophy? Like, not happening.
They'd be super heels for sure.
Not happening because everyone loves Dusty, and it's like kind of like that's going to be a slap in the face or whatever. Even if it's done for a storyline, it's kind of exploiting his death or whatever it may be. But imagine the heat and the story you have if Authors of Pain win, destroy the trophy, and lay out Goldust.
Yeah, I could see them destroying Dustin more than anything. Like maybe he protects the trophy and they take him down.
Right. So imagine the heat that would generate to where, like, I don't know, maybe Dustin Rhodes starts backing DIY, and DIY on behalf of Dusty's honor and legacy through Dustin, then go after it. It's artificially sets up the next storyline for them, with Revival probably going to SmackDown. It's not going to be done. And that's why I'm saying TM61 is going to win, because of the photo op, and not the photo op, but the thing they'll do after the presentation of the trophy, the shaking of the hands, and all that kind of stuff. But man, imagine the heat they could generate from this, based on the desecration of the after match fanfare. Be pretty sick, right?
Yeah, it'd be pretty messed up.
It'd be pretty controversial too, and probably would not be.
I do want to bring something up that I didn't think about until we were talking about it just now. So, you mentioned Cody, and I'm like, well, no, Cody's not coming back.
He mentioned he would.
Huh?
He mentioned he would.
Yeah, he mentioned he would. But then I remembered something. So this weekend, there's this thing in Atlanta called Hero Fan Fest. I believe is what it's called, Heroes Fan Fest or something like that. And it's sort of a comic book nerd convention where it's really about meet and greets and panels, as opposed to, it's not a cosplay convention or anything like that. It's more informational and more, actually meet people, take pictures with them and stuff like that. Cody, being someone who was on this season of Arrow, was supposed to be there. Be there this weekend, because I was actually going to buy tickets to go meet him and stuff like that. And then I decided, I'll just wait. If I want to go, I'll just go and get a normal ticket, get into a panel, whatever. Well, today on Twitter, he says, due to a family emergency, I will not be able to make Heroes Fan Fest in Atlanta this weekend. I'm sorry.
Family emergency being Saturday night?
Yeah, well, if it's, if it's the timeline, and if the family says, we've got to have you there, or something is going on where they need him there in lieu of someone else, who knows? It's I don't know. Or they just made him a really good offer. Who knows?
Or maybe Authors of Pain versus Dustin and Cody Rhodes at the next Takeover.
I mean, you talk about crazy, and talk about someone who would be unbelievably over. Yeah, I could see that happening, but yeah, it seems to fit, and I never would have thought of that had you not mentioned his name a while ago. But I just saw that, I don't know, about an hour ago. I'm like, man, that sucks. I'm kind of glad I didn't buy a ticket now,
Yeah,
because he would have been the person I
the
was
person.
going to see. And so,
I kind of want that scenario now, just for that privilege. I mean, I've been a Cody Rhodes fan, but I've never really been super into Cody Rhodes. But you know, like that saying, like you never, you don't know what you got until it's gone. I kind of miss
yeah,
the guy, so
yeah, and
and
he's been classy outside of everything. So
yeah, and I kind of miss Goldust in a way. Ever since they decided to do that Golden Truth stuff, and then they decided to, I don't know, do nothing with either of them,
not do it. Yeah,
to do it, and then just not do anything with either of them after the fact. Um, I would think that's a compelling story, a little bit of a diss to Daddy, and like redemption. Like they just maybe they're not the first ones to beat Authors of Pain, but regardless, I still think TM61 is going to win, because I think it's just we respect Dusty so much. We're not going to do, at least yet, 1 year after his death, going to do something that's going to use him within a storyline. And I think that TM61 wins as the result. So
and hey, maybe TM61 wins, but authors of Pain start going on a tear, and like as they're trying to do the awards presentation or whatever, and Cody and Dustin step in.
that'd be quite awesome.
It'd be interesting.
It'd be quite fitting to be like, hey, maybe you weren't respected on the main roster, but maybe we'll respect you a little bit more here than other places could be. And while you try to find yourself, you work with us for 2 months and see.
Yeah.
Work with us
Yeah.
again for 2 months in this capacity, and let's see. We'll give you the time, we'll give you the space, we'll give you the growth, we'll give you a little bit of creative with your character, and then you tell us if it's
Well,
working
and they
or
got
not.
to be noted. And I know we don't need to stay on this all night, especially since we have another podcast
Right.
to cut. But they got to be noticing that he's selling out houses everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Whether it's
I mean,
whether it's a big arena or not, they're selling out because his name's on the card.
I don't think they wanted him to go. They just didn't have a place where he
They just
really
didn't have a
wanted to
plan
be.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's main event time. Nakamura versus Samoa Joe for the NXT title. Another case where the loser is getting promoted.
It feels that way, and man, does the main roster need Joe, because we just don't have anyone. Like our most compelling heel right now is AJ Styles, and he's the champ, and that runs the camp, the face that runs the place.
We have a few heels, but they're just like Owens, Jericho, AJ Styles. They're fan favorite heels. Not that
Right.
Samoa Joe wouldn't be a fan favorite heel,
Exactly.
but none of those heels can put on a scowl and
Nobody's
terrify
vicious.
people.
Yeah, no one has the viciousness of Joe.
Baron Corbin does, but I can't even tell. Like, I don't even know what Baron Corbin's doing in the company for the lack of them using him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, again, just like on the Gold Dust R-Truth front, they put them in the Survivor Series match, the all-important Survivor Series matches, to represent the brand, and then they get pulled out, just like Baron Corbin did. So it's kind of unfair. So yeah, Joe can fit in on Raw. We talked about this last week, I believe, on the show. He can fit in on Raw, he can fit in on SmackDown, and he's needed on both.
Yeah,
So
he is.
no reason to think, especially with like the seal of approval that Nakamura got a couple of weeks ago, it doesn't seem like Nakamura is going to fulfill the Finn Balor role of, he's not getting promoted anytime soon. He's in NXT for a long, long time, and he's going to be on top for a long, long time, to represent the company for house shows, for other for other things other than TV tapings. And with that,
Yeah.
I can't see Nakamura losing this fight. It's funny how we talk about matches and it has nothing to do with this guy's stronger than the other guy. This guy has a move nobody can get out of. It's like, oh, well, this show needs them.
It's the it's the politics and the inner workings of the industry about it, as opposed to the actual match.
The bottom dollar is Nakamura's got to stay with NXT because they need him in NXT to sell out shows, to main event takeovers, to be a special attraction on the TV show.
So what you're saying is we talk about what's best for business.
I think that's exactly what we say. Is there anything special on about this match that you think is going to happen? Stand out?
I don't know. I think it's just going to be nice and crispy, like the last match was, and yeah, I think it'll be really, really brutal, and yeah, I mean, and I enjoy their chemistry. Like they're so believable as an actual fight, and Joe sells out to his character so remarkably well, so much better than many people do. Like even guys that do it really well, Joe he just commits better than maybe anybody else in the business. And I'm not normally like I try not to put that type of moniker on really anyone, but there's just certain people that things they do so well, and you just can't really compare it to you can't really put anyone else on their level. And Joe is someone who, when he's the bad guy, he wants you to believe that if you ran into him in real life, that's exactly who you would meet.
I have a feeling this is going to spill onto the outside, maybe go into the front row. Like, not like crowd clearing front row, but WWE section off a corner of the arena and have it spill out to the crowd, maybe up the ramp. I mean, I don't think there's going to be... I'm sure these guys are going to be outside the ring for long enough for there to be a 10 count, but I highly doubt that anybody will be counting. The referee will be trying to follow them, trying to break it up and get it back into the ring. The little leeway clause. The referee's giving him a little bit of space because the match is so important. I expect stuff like that, especially since Nakamura has been so offensively brutal towards like ringing out security guards and stuff and things like that. It could be very interesting. I kind of regret like Samoa Joe, not regret, but I kind of wish that Samoa Joe would have laid out Regal just to really solidify himself as like the vicious guy that kind of thing. But
I think they would have done that, but there's probably a medical reason why they didn't.
I can kind of I don't know exactly but the status of Regal is pretty well known. He's had the surgery and stuff like that when they were in London, I think last year. I think just before that he had the surgery.
Well, he couldn't go to London because he had to.
I think it was there and had to come back.
Seems that could be it. Yeah.
So Nakamura wins, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's put a wrap on this, but let's before we do that, let's do our typical NXT Takeover special kind of special like I don't know.
I feel like we've called the shenanigans with Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes is a good one.
We kind of covered that.
The what do we used to call it? We used to call it the bold predictions. The who's going to show up, who's going to be like the NXT does the let's put dignitaries in the front row kind of stuff and alternate them during the match. We've had Flair, we've had Charlotte, we've had Sasha Banks, we've had Bobby Roode and Ibushi and the GnWC guys. Anybody you think they're going to put front row? Bret Hart?
I could see that. Yeah, it's Canada.
Owens, because it's Canada. No, I mean I don't know if they're gonna.
I could actually see them rotating Jericho and Owens. They would obviously be together. I could see them,
but that might take a little bit more attention off the show than they want to do, though, because the crowd would be huge for them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, they're huge for Flair as well, and that was kind of like one of the downsides of the last Takeover was Flair was late to get to a seat. Yeah,
major distraction.
I'm thinking of up and comers and stuff like that. I know they signed a whole bunch of people. Like I always think that they should put those guys front row and showcase them off at one point. Be like, hey, you're the new WWE Performance Center signees, and just show them on the screen.
Oh, I know the Drifter. I mean, he'll get a great pop, right?
Well, I think he's going to be a part of the TV taping there. I mean, we called that, right? Well, you called that, and I totally agreed with you. And then we set it up where he comes out playing a song in instant heat because everyone wanted to see somebody else, and there you go. That's perfect. That's wrestling 101 right there. That's why it works.
You called that it was sort of screwball. I was saying,
you're like, I think he could be faced and come back. And
well,
like,
I was saying they were presenting it like sort of tongue in cheek, not really tongue in cheek, but sort of like,
important,
sort of cringing as I said it. They're presenting it as though they're repackaging him, and then you brought up, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah. All right.
And you're right on.
I don't know about other people that are showing up. Like, I always want to say, like, during the women's match that they'll put a few women front row. Trish Stratus maybe, and Lita and stuff like that. But Lita will already be there. We know that.
Well,
I don't know. Cody Rhodes, I guess, #1 on the list, right? Let's have Cody Rhodes there. Let's have Cody Rhodes involved. Let's lead that to Cody Rhodes now doing his thing, and maybe still taking independent bookings as well. But, like, just for the sake of TV and the product, using Cody Rhodes and not Stardust and whatever other gimmicks he's been in. So,
sure.
Yeah, that's really all I got. I can read this Diablo 2 booklet for you if you want.
Let's not do that. Let's go ahead and let's cut to the good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke. He's the Larry. This has been your NXT Takeover Toronto prediction show. We are out.